Hi, my name is Javin from Blue Jav Reviews, and I'm going to be reviewing the Avatar Standalone Blu-ray that was released back in April 2010. Avatar has come a long way since its conception as a brainchild of director James Cameron. From the many years of pre-production to 4 years of actual production and post-production, to say that Avatar took a lot of effort to bring to the silver screen is a huge understatement. There's no denying that this film is a technical masterpiece in terms of its visual effects that would have not been possible 10 years ago when James Cameron was conceiving this project. And when it came out almost 4 years ago, it blew everyone away because of its immersive world that James Cameron had created. Had I rated it at the time, it would have gotten a 9 out of 10. But most will also agree that the main story of this movie was not exactly original. Essentially, it was Pocahontas with blue aliens. Some critics found it a problem because of its unoriginal storyline. Others found it part of the charm, as it reminded them of watching Star Wars Episode 4 for the first time. A movie that didn't have an original plot either at its time, but it still wowed them with visual effects and kept audiences invested in its characters. But this review isn't about how good is it then, but how good is it now. So after 4 years, does it still hold up? Not as much as you might have remembered back then. Strip away all that fancy visual effects, and you have a typical story of a military dude who turns out to support the native tribes that he was tasked to eliminate in the first place. I saw this Blu-ray again a few days ago, and I found myself a little bit underwhelmed, ironically not by its predictable storyline, but because now I realize this movie has some really cheesy moments that somehow went over my head the first time I saw it. Like the scenes where Neytiri is showing Jake Sully the cultures of the Na'vi tribe. Just felt a little too stereotypical of tribes in general, so it's hard for me to get invested and root for the Na'vi tribes on my subsequent viewing. Also, the acting in this movie is just serviceable, and there aren't any outstanding performances in the grand scheme of things. I found Sam Worthington a little bit uninteresting in his performance as Jake Sully. Giovanni Ribisi plays your typical corporate evil bad guy as Parker Selridge. Stephen Lang also plays a stereotypical tough military colonel, Miles Quaritch.
Shut your pie hole!
Or what? Ranger Rick, you gonna shoot me?
I can do that.
But that's not to say it's all bad. The visual effects in this film still look spectacular and definitely worth seeing for yourself. But because of the movie's predictable and fairly straightforward storyline, it does not have the rewatch value of, say, Inception. So I think the best way to enjoy this movie is not expect a storyline that's gonna wow you, but see this as a movie that will take you to the beautiful, detailed CG world of Pandora for a couple of hours, and for some great action set pieces. But it's also a movie that you'll probably not see more than once. I'll just say, this is jaw-dropping gorgeous. This is the movie that many home theatre enthusiasts will use to show off their home theatre. All the CG scenes are crisp and detailed. You can see the textures of the skin of the Turk, or you will simply gaze at the glowing tree of souls. I've checked the video file size on this disc and it's about 45 gigabytes, and you can see that every byte is not wasted to bring the highest quality image on screen. That said, after 4 years, there's just one minor quibble that I have with the live action footage. They were shot in HD Cam SR, which is essentially just 1080p video, which today is considered a lower resolution in light of today's 4K or 5K resolution digital cameras. So the digital live action footage of Avatar does not look quite as sharp or crisp as recently digitally shot films like Skyfall, but they still look good because it's the native resolution of your home HD TV. And since this movie was shot in 1080p, it is presented in its native 16:9 aspect ratio, where you will see more of the top and the bottom of the image than what you might have seen in normal cinemas. Previously, the only way to see this movie in that aspect ratio it is in IMAX or in select cinemas, but now the entire frame is available for home viewing, which is a nice touch. This disc also amazes orally. The audio is encoded in lossless DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. This sound mix makes full use of the 5.1 soundscape, with clear direction across the room, deep bass during explosions, creatures screeching, and so on. I can talk about the audio all day, but I think it's better to just tell you, when you get this Blu-ray, play this scene on your home theater.
That's him. Get after him.
Or this scene. Or maybe that scene. There's no doubt that Avatar is a visually and orally stunning movie, and an immersive piece of storytelling. But it's the actual story itself that's just run-of-the-mill, predictable, and just slightly cheesy, and does not offer that same groundbreaking achievement in that department. Now this disc I'm reviewing here, the standalone 2D Blu-ray version, is not the most ideal version to get, because it has absolutely no special features whatsoever. There's only a cool THX trailer at the end of the movie, if you can count that. If you really want to own this movie at this time, save your money and get the 3disc Extended Collector's Edition. The price will have probably dropped by now. You get 3 versions of the movie: the theatrical version, the special edition re-release, and the collector's extenders cut. Not to mention, you will get a whole lot of deleted scenes, behind the scenes documentary, and so on. I'll reserve judgment for those alternate versions until I've seen it, but right now I have no desire to see the extended cuts after being underwhelmed watching this movie again. There's also a 3D standalone Blu-ray version available, but no collector's edition 3D version yet, which I feel is a cheap way of forcing consumers to double dip, triple dip, whatever.
You should see your faces.
But no matter which version you get, this is a movie that's still worth seeing at least once. For more of my Blu-ray reviews, head over to bluejeff.blogspot.com.